the sun trip goes on, you know, you get to a point where it's fully complete. That's the final piece, and you shake your hand over the car. That's when I felt quite emotional, and everybody's clapping, and you think, wow, I've finally done it. I've actually got an RWB. So yeah, my name's Dan, I'm an architect, and as you can tell, I like to design cool cars. My granddad got me into cars. I do believe is the first memory that I've got of cars, because he had tons and tons of toy models, like thousands. He had an office in his home, and he had floor to ceiling. So I think that's my earliest memory of cars. I got into Porsches full stop probably about 10 years ago. I had a Cayman. 4 years after that I got my first 911. The 993 RWB, I actually bought the car about a year and a half ago, and it was the first 993 that I'd bought, because I just love the whole background of RWB. He is someone who's created a very niche market. It grew obviously from Japan. So with this being my first 911 993, I got quite giddy, and it was more a case of whatever car comes up at the cheapest possible price I'm going to buy, hence why I've got an automatic. So I bought the car. Within 10 miles the gearbox broke. I rang the guy up who I bought the car from, who was a Porsche specialist. I said, look mate, you know, at the end of the day I bought this car, I've done 10 miles in it and the gearbox is broke, what are you going to do about it? And he went, well, reluctantly I'll take it back. So he took the car back, offered to repair it. Long story short, 7 months later he eventually got back in touch with me with hardly any correspondence whatsoever. I genuinely thought the guy had stole it, because his company got shut down. He didn't answer any of his phone calls. He rarely texts me back. So this is the reason why this car, in my mind, wasn't going to get done. Meeting Nakai for the first time was quite surreal, especially considering how he came into the building. He was very slow-paced and relaxed, quite cool, calm and collected. Nakai has an awesome eye for detail, to the point where when he's tracking the car up, he can physically look at where the tyre is in relation to the arches and eye it up. The suspension, for example, he actually got to a point where he asked me, what do you want to do with regards to the height? I said, I want it low. And he said, well, I want it 9mm on the back and 12mm on the front. So I, got down on my hands and knees and did it, adjusted it. But yeah, he dropped it on the floor and it was perfect. It was literally how I wanted it, and he trimmed the arches to suit beforehand. That was a good feeling. That I remember it being dropped on the floor for the first time after adjusting the suspension, thinking, wow, that was really cool. It got to a point when, especially, sun trip goes on. You get to a point where it's fully complete. That's the final piece, and you shake your hand over the car. That's when I felt quite emotional, and everybody's clapping. You think, wow, I've finally done it. I've actually got an RWB. Me being an architect and having that element of design in my life, I've always wanted to put a twist on everything that I do. The grey, I wanted more of a classical look. There's not very many RWBs out there which have got ducktails, and even still they're in quite a loud colour, so I saw the opportunity to go for quite a subtle look, hence why I've gone for the ducktail and then the gold wheels, which I think complements the car really well. The turning point and the most standout moment for me was when the wheels and the body kit went on and it dropped for the first time. You've got to bear in mind, when I put the body kit on just loosely beforehand, it was still the original gel coat white. So the white against the grey, even though I did have the wheels, but the wheels were on with a loose fitting body kit, and the contrast in the colours, you couldn't quite see what it looked like. Whereas when Nakai were there, he gets his jack and he literally just grabs it, drops it down, it smacks onto the floor, and you're like, wow, that's incredible. But Nakai, everybody says, they were like, what's it like having Nakai cut your car up? And I'm like, well, I knew it would come in. But even still, when he's there doing it, it's really good. It gives you a great feeling. I always knew what Nakai wanted to achieve, and he has done that. He's created a body kit and he sold it to the masses, and I think from memory, from recent charts, he sold more than 1,200. The good thing about having the car is the way that it makes you feel. I like the fact that I've been able to create something I want, and I like the fact that people appreciate what you've done to it. I remember going to Italy, but driving the car through Italy, I even said to Dan, I said, this is actually the first time people on the way have seen a car like this, and it breaks necks all the time. And it's nice to interact with people. You know, that's one of the reasons that I do my job. I like to interact with people. I like to see people happy. If anybody's watching this and they genuinely want to be different for their own sake, just do it. That's the mantra in life for me. You just do it. No matter what it is. You know, if you want to build a car, you just do it. You've got to be unique in your own right, no matter what you do in life. Life's stressful. A lot of people look from the outside in and think that I am doing well, and yes, I am to a degree. It doesn't matter what you've got in life, it's very hard. You just got to work your ass off. Work your ass off to achieve what you want to achieve, because it doesn't come to you on a plate. I've worked my ass off for what I've got, and even still, it's a struggle. It's very stressful in what you do, and to have something like this, I feel very gifted. I feel, you know, blessed that I've been able to do this, but it's only through hard work. It's a tough world out there, but you've got to do what you want and do what makes you happy. So what's in store in the future, I've touched on it briefly, is another RWB. I mentioned earlier that this one is called Last Minute, and it's called Last Minute because it got changed out, and it got changed out because the next car I want to go above and beyond with. So the next RWB, it will be a 993, but I've changed the colour completely, and it's a really rare, unique colour. You know, custom wheels again, Tarox on the brakes, Nakai tyres, you know, 6AD for the wheels, Top Gear Performance for the exhaust. He's going to have a carbon bonnet, carbon roof, you know, carbon doors potentially. I've gone for a new interior. It's going to be next level, so it's going to get to a point where I feel like it's show winner worthy. I like to modify a car and feel like when the whole thing's done, it's worthy of an award.